In today's show, let's look ahead to Thursday's games. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode of Locked On Fantasy Basketball is brought to you by McDonald's. Proudly serving communities since 1965, McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty and affordable food. It's an unofficial community centre. A big thank you to our friends at McDonald's for always being there. I'm loving it. Thanks for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. All right, we're here to do the what to watch for Thursday. Check back later in the day for the recap of all 11 games from Wednesday. Some big performances, some shit ones. We'll talk about all of those in that recap show later on today. But we are here now to look ahead to Thursday. So let's start with the first one of those games, and that is the Dallas Mavericks and the Atlanta Hawks. We haven't seen either of these teams play yet, and one of the key things I want to watch from a Dallas perspective, let's start with them, is I want to watch Kristaps Porzingis. Yep. He's looked really good in the preseason. We know there's so much of him that's reliant on injuries, but if we can get something happening a little bit different with Jason Kidd, different role in the offense, he can easily be a top 20 player on a per-game basis. So we do want to watch him pretty closely here. I also want to see Tim Hardaway Jr., who had really some big breakout performances in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he was really ho-hum. He didn't play like 30 minutes a night. Let's see, is he a 28-minute-a-night starter, or does he get 32, 33? I think he should be rostered in all leagues at this stage, but I want to see how Kidd deploys him. And if he gets those large minutes, what that means for Reggie Bullock and for Jalen Brunson as well. And how they utilize Hardaway, how the touches go between Hardaway, Porzingis, and of course, Luka Doncic. While for the Atlanta Hawks, everyone's healthy and ready to go, outside of Onyeka Okongwu. So let's see what DeAndre Hunter can deliver. We know that last season he was excellent before the injury, and then he was bad after it. And this year in his last preseason game, he really turned it on. He's going to start almost definitely. But how do they run that rotation with him and Bogdanovic? Cam Reddish as well, who I do want to watch after a big performance in the playoffs from him. How do they all fit together? How do the minutes get distributed between Bogdanovic, Reddish, Herder even, who played like 30 minutes a night last year? Hard to see him getting those minutes this season. So that we know what Trae Young's going to do. We know what Capella's going to do. We know what Johnny Collins is going to do. I guess it helps that guys like Danilo Gallinari and Lou Williams are under a cloud heading into this game. And if they are out, it does improve the value of guys like Hunter and Reddish and even Johnny Collins. But if everyone is ready to go, how do the Hawks figure out that rotation? Who gets those minutes in those scenarios? That remains to be seen. Bucks and Heat, first team playing their second game in Milwaukee. And of course, the two big standout performers were Grayson Allen and Jordan Nwora. Drew Holiday is likely to play. He's listed as probable. But still no Bobby Portis, no Dante DiVincenzo, no Rodney Hood, and no Shemi Ojale. So there are going to be a lot of opportunities for Nwora to be in that rotation and for Allen. But they did really thrive in the second half on Tuesday with Drew out, with Allen playing the 1 and Nwora playing the 2 at times. So let's see what their role looks like, how many shots they can get up. Can Allen reduplicate those assist numbers that he put up in that opening night game? Because if Drew does play, which is the expectation, then that's going to be less likely. But there are still going to be shots available with Portis out, and that's going to help Nwora's game. It's the first time we're going to see Miami as well. So let's see what Bam Adebayo looks like. How does his usage look? More importantly, how much ball handling does he do? What do his assist numbers look like? Because they were pretty putrid in the preseason with Kyle Lowry taking a lot of that role on. And that's so much of what Bam's fantasy value is based on, is being a 5+ assist guy as a center. If he's getting 2.5 or 3 per game, then that second round pick that you may have used on Bam probably won't look great. So let's see how that looks. Also, we want to pay attention to Tyler Hero. He was excellent in the preseason. But does he get 30 minutes a night? Probably. Can he still be that efficient and have that level of usage? That's the debate. But yeah, it's Gabe Vincent and Max Strus coming off the bench, so Hero should still get the bulk of those minutes and the bulk of those shot attempts in that rotation. And that's obviously going to help him get those numbers and get those minutes up or get that production up. So we want to see how those guys go. The last game of the night, it's the Clippers and the Warriors. The Clippers are banged up. Obviously, Kawhi's out, but now Nick Batum is out for personal reasons. Marcus Morris is on a minutes restriction. Serge Ibaka is out. Keon Johnson's out. Not that he would play necessarily. But there's opportunities here. Eric Bledsoe is probably going to be the starter. So can he look more like Milwaukee Eric Bledsoe versus New Orleans Eric Bledsoe, which was terrible? That's a key factor. I think he's worth at least having and definitely at least streaming in on your roster if he's on your waiver wire. And Terrence Mann, with no Batum, he is going to play a huge role coming off the bench. Him and Luke Kennard, massive, massive role for those guys. More ball handling opportunities in that second unit. So how Mann looks here, again, absolutely a worthwhile guy to have for Thursday at the very least. With Batum out, it really does help both Bledsoe and Mann. For the Warriors, their standout performer, I guess, was Nemanja Bjelica, or surprise performer on Tuesday. So can he replicate that? The shooting numbers for him were pretty high, so that's likely not going to continue, but they thrived with him at center, him and Kevon Looney playing those center minutes. Looney only played like 15, so it was Bjelica and Green a lot of the time. So let's see how Bjelica looks. Also, Otto Porter, who was weirdly out of the rotation, but then played 7 fourth quarter minutes. Were they ramping him up for some reason after playing him more minutes in preseason? I don't know what they were doing, but what is Porter's role? Is it a 12-minute-a-night player, or can he push back to being a 20-minute-a-night player? Like, he needed to be a out-of-the-gate 27-minute-a-night guy for me to look at him as a 12-team league player. Now, having him for Thursday's game is totally fine because, again, no one's playing. But after that, I don't think he's going to be any sort of must-roster guy or anything along those lines. Guys, this episode, as I said, of Locked On Fantasy Basketball is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, it's always been more than just that place for tasty, affordable food. We all remember going to McDonald's for kids' parties or pulling in to Macca's after a game, after our sporting achievements and celebrating. Yeah, Mum, can I get McDonald's? It's been there. It's been there throughout all our lives forever. And win or lose, whether it's a place where your teammates or competitors meeting up. We used to happen, coming back playing from cricket. We go through Macca's and sometimes you'd see opposition players in there, just grab yourself a cheeseburger. Hey, you going, mate? Like, just all that sort of stuff. Like, that's what Macca's, it's just a part of our lives growing up and now as well. So, when you go to Macca's, it's not just a place to refuel. It's a place you can reconnect, catch up with friends, catch up with other parents at children's birthday parties. Whatever it is, Macca's has always been there. So, head to your local McDonald's to refuel and reconnect. Guys, that's a great idea. Macca's, it's around, it's reliable, and it is just a part of every community. They want me to sing. Do you know what should I sing? Da-da-da-da-da. Macca's. McDonald's. I'm loving it. Wow, that was embarrassing. All right, let's now have a look at some stream options for Thursday's action. Now, I put this list together before the news that Nick Batum was going to be out. So the top stream there is Nick Batum. Well, he's out, so don't worry about that. But Dwight Powell, these are rostered in under 50% of advanced leagues. Dwight Powell, Dorian Finney-Smith, Eric Bledsoe, Nemanja Bjelica, who I think you should add at the very least for this week, and Grayson Allen as well. These guys should be rostered in more leagues, so add them and let's see what happens. Danilo Gallinari, the Italian cock. If I can find my sound drop for him.
Hands up, my cock!
He's questionable. But if he plays, then there is some value there in him. Marcus Morris could be a stream as well if he's available, but I think his roster percentage was a little bit too high. You can also look to Isaiah Hartenstein, because they would have gone with some small lineups with Morris and Batum at center, but with Batum out and Morris minutes limited, Hartenstein's going to get a good opportunity behind Ivica Zubac, I think, there with the LA Clippers. For deeper leagues, these are rostered in under 10%. Again, Batum not counting. Dwight Powell, Danilo Gallinari, Reggie Bullock. He's going to get opportunities. Maxi Kleber, like a 25-minute-a-night guy, I would imagine. Juan Toscano Anderson should get around that 20-minute mark, I would guess, for the Warriors. And Delon Wright, especially if Lou Williams does happen to be ruled out for the Hawks. He's currently questionable. So some interesting deeper league streams there. Let's look at Points League stream options. We've got Eric Bledsoe, Terrence Mann. These are under 50% rostered on Yahoo. Dorian Finney-Smith, Nemanja Bjelica, Dwight Powell, and Marcus Morris Sr. are definitely some stream options that you can look to. Guys, how did LeBron James become King James? Well, sleep. That's the key answer. That's right. Sleep is his superpower. Calm is the #1 app for sleep and meditation, and it's teamed up with LeBron to help you activate the power of sleep. LeBron and Calm know that your mind is like any other muscle in your body. You don't have to be a world champion to learn how to train it. Calm can help you train your brain to sleep better, reduce your stress, and perform at your best, just like King James. And as LeBron says, getting good sleep and finding time to rest is one of the most valuable things that I can do for my body and mind. From the sound of rain falling on leaves to bedtime sleep stories, Calm puts me to sleep within minutes, which means I wake up ready for any challenge. Thanks, LeBron. Great quote. So head to calm.com/LockedOnNBA, and for a limited time, you'll get 40% off a Calm premium subscription. Again, for a limited time, our listeners can join LeBron in using Calm and get a 40% discount on a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/LockedOnNBA. Unlock content to help you focus, ease stress, and sleep better. Get started at calm.com/LockedOnNBA. That's calm.com/LockedOnNBA. And of course, we're in stressful environments. We sweat. If you suffer from excessive sweating, why don't you get the doctor-created and doctor-recommended formula that is Sweatblock? It stops excessive sweat for up to 7 days per use. Heading into summer like we are here, Sweatblock is going to be invaluable for me and my family to prevent that excessive sweating, but it's not just for your armpits, your chest, your back, your feet, your hands. You can use it anywhere. Actually, anywhere. Wherever you need it, wherever you've got that sweat building up, Sweatblock can help reduce that issue. Sweatblock wipes, you wipe them on before you go to bed. You wake up the next day, bang, covered for up to 7 days. Also got the dry shirt guarantee. If Sweatblock doesn't keep you dry, you get your money back. So get it today for 20% off at sweatblock.com by using the promo code LOCKEDON or at Amazon and at CVS, guys. That'll do it for today's What to Watch For show. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, follow this podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app on YouTube. Hit thumbs up, leave your comments down below, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.